All right, we're live on YouTube now. Hello, YouTube. We won't do a long intro or anything. We're going to get right into it. But again, if you're just popping in, we got Virgil here from Shadow Moses, who is widely understood as the best light fighter PvPers in the game. So who better to have to talk about the light fighter meta being dead, right? So we'll do the intro and then we'll bring him in. So just catching you guys up if you're just popping in now. It's going to be weird with YouTube because we have to start early today because Virgil's not insane like Croncy, where he goes to bed at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Virgil has a normal life, unlike Croncy. So yeah. But no Croncy today. He had something going on with the baby, so he won't be here. All right. So all right, we're gonna start the intro and we'll get going. "20 seconds. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. No Croncy today, but we have a very special guest to talk about a very special topic. We're going to be talking about the armor changes in the 4.7 Evo patch and the light fighter meta with who I would argue is one of the best light fighter pilots in the world, and certainly is the leader of the org that is winning the light fighter tournaments, right? And that is Shadow Moses. So hello, Virgil. Welcome. How you doing?
Thanks.
And yeah,
Good.
what's going on?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I've been taking a break, but
I know, which
really
annoys
looking for
me.
the next patch.
Virgil's
Yeah.
my is like my go-to afternoon after I'm done with stream content creator to watch. In the last year, he was doing lots of like when the Wolf came out, content around that, and streaming and taking on multiple pilots and stuff like that. In a light fighter, which was super fun to watch and really enjoyable. So I thought, again, who better to talk to? And it kind of worked out perfectly. I woke up this morning, Croncy was like, I can't make it. And I was like, oh shit, what do I do? And then you messaged me and you were like, are you going to talk about this today? Because I think you were assuming that, hey, maybe I can jump on a call early and talk about it with you. And I was like, why don't we do the show together instead? So it worked out perfectly. So thanks again for coming on. And yes, we're doing this very early in the morning because Croncy is, or Virgil is Australian, just like Croncy, but Virgil goes to bed at a normal hour, unlike Croncy. So yeah. But yeah, for people who don't know you, I did a little bit of an intro, but who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Why would I bring you on to talk about this subject, I guess? And again, even though you're taking a break from content creation or the game or whatever, where can people find you? Because your videos for the current kind of stuff is still relevant to where we were and where we're now going, right?
Yeah, like I try to make like YouTube videos and stuff just to have fun, with a couple friends and stuff like that. I run the Shadow Moses org, which you and me have linked up on content and stuff before.
Yep.
And I just enjoy, the uh, like I hate just saying I'm a PvP player because I actually enjoy like competitive or difficult PvE at the same time. So like I
Yeah.
don't like to just throw myself there too. I'm open to like good PvE at the same time. So, I just try to have fun. I think hard games are fun games. And that's it.
Yeah.
So, and I think this topic's like really interesting because I think a lot of the takes so far have been really ridiculous and untrue.
Yes. I think
And
that's a
it's
good
such a funny
place.
subject. So
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. Um, is the light fighter meta dead? I am seeing thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail that the light fighter meta is dead. But it's my understanding from like my Twitch chat and everything is that it's not really dead. It's something different. So yeah, what's your take on that?
Yeah, like okay, so there is changes in 4.7, and it's like the radar, which I know you want to cover, and we can
Yeah.
get to that in a little bit. And then there's the armor values, which changes the threshold. And for the record, like being completely honest, I had to ping the org, and I was like, "Hey, whoever knows this shit, get in voice right now and run me through it again, so I don't look like a dumbass on this podcast."
Yeah.
So shout out to Sophie and Fresh for hopping in and getting me caught up with it. But yeah, so the story is there's like an armor threshold which your weapons have to meet to do damage.
Yep.
And the idea is it's like you were saying earlier, you were alluding to it, and you're on the mark. It's more like, the death or the nerfing of repeaters
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah.
So I think like with this patch, you're probably going to see a lot of people, maybe, and it still depends on what numbers they end at, but move away from the mold of the ballistic repeaters and maybe repeaters in general, and then just move and transition towards like cannons and NDBs and just the harder hitting types of weapons. So um no, I don't think it's the end of it. There is an argument that the fighters at least have to be more committed and come closer into range, which is a good thing too, because that's been one of the big criticisms to like multi-crew and turret gameplay and master modes as well, is that you could just shoot at like 3k and never
Yeah.
be at a threat to anything. So I think that's a really healthy change. That's a good thing. But no, it's I don't. It's the death
What
of
a
it is ridiculous. So.
yeah. Now I would
And
ask
a way
what
to look at that, a way to look just quickly, a way to look
sure.
at that too is like, what weapons are light fighters using that the heavies and the medium fighters aren't using? They're all the same weapons, Mike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, how are just the lights biting the dust? It's
Exactly. It makes no
like
sense.
yeah,
Now I've had some experiences that this change is horrendous for, but it's more like they just need to like tweak and dial some things in a little bit. But
yeah.
the and I'll mention those in a little in a second. But I got to ask you, cannons are longer range weapons though. So what about the change is making light fighters have to commit more? Do you think?
The radar change. The radar change. I
The
think.
radar change. That's right. Okay. So let's talk about that for just a second. We'll talk more on the stealth side of it later, but there is a radar change, and it's in kind of game changing and insane in comparison to what we've had before, in my opinion, a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, and what is it doing, and why is that bringing people closer?
It's funny because it was Tumblr Reno. You're familiar with him. He was
Oh
actually
yeah.
the guy who ran me through it all. Um, but the way it works is now the radar has like pip assignments with power, so you can like distribute like a little bit of power or a lot of bit of a lot more power, and that impacts radar's performance. Now it's not that big in fighters, but what it's doing is it giving you a range at which all your assists and targeting works, right? So
Yeah.
between I think the number last I saw was close to like 11 to 1200 on a
Hmm.
light fighter. That's if you've maxed out the radar. Now,
Yeah.
what happens is once a target is outside of that range that your radar reaches, you lose ESP, fixed assist, and the pip. So you're
Crazy.
blind firing at that range.
Yeah, which is very
Um,
cool. I was like, "Oh, I need more power into my So I did something, and this is where I'll talk quickly about like my experience that was really really bad for new players. So we're all talking about this as like veteran players. This is a good change. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. Um, a new player will not be messing around with their radar. A new player will not understand what's going on. And then I was in, and I got some shit about this in my YouTube comments, but I'm sorry if you're listening, you're dumb because I was using a golem, a mining ship, to go do Gilly number 1, which is like the most entry level mission that could possibly exist in Star Citizen, and it has 2 size 1 lasers and 2 missiles, and I could not kill a C8. I couldn't get through the armor on a C8. So that's like using a stock Aurora, which is exactly the same thing as what a new player would potentially experience, right? And you cannot kill the ship. So, like, from that entry level perspective, this is a horrible current experience in Evo. It's Evo. There's a very good chance it's not going to be like this when we get to it. But when the I lowered my radar to just to get back on the radar point, I lowered the pips in my radar to give more power to my shields or something, and my pip was just like gone unless I was within like 300-400 meters. I was like,
Yeah,
what the
exactly.
heck? This is crazy. And I was like, I thought it was a bug. I thought it was a
Yeah.
bug. So yeah, good change, but they didn't even really communicate that change well in the notes so far. And these notes were meant to be going to Wave 1 testers who have not experienced any of this stuff yet. And it says your assists will go away. I think the targeting reticle is a lot more than an assist. It is like it's been the crutch that we all have used forever. So I think hopefully they like change those notes a little bit there, because I thought it was a bug, but pretty cool. Yeah, so that is what's going to force you to come closer. Now, do you really think that's going to force anybody to come closer to? How does this? I just immediately can think of a way to get around this, and that's right clicking and going into that longer range aim mode. I forgot what it's called.
No, that doesn't. Same diff. Apparently, there's nerfs to that too. Like you can't see with the scanning where the components are at that range as well.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah.
nice. So they're thinking about
I
everything
think the
there.
way to look at it is like anything that your computer would use past that range, like your ship's computer,
Nice,
does not function past it. Yeah.
cool,
So
cool. Yeah,
I
precision
mean,
mode. So
you're right. Like if you're shooting a giant target, yeah, you can still spray it.
yep,
So you should. It's not black and white. This
yep,
keeps all of combat inside of that range.
yep.
It's just this is a middle ground between the two, and I'm for it. I like it's of no consequence to me or anyone I know. Like I don't think that I haven't seen anyone even complain about it in the entire PvP community. To be honest.
Yeah.
Um, because the thing is, like,
Well, why
it
would
gets a
you?
horrible, yeah, it gets a horrible rep. And like I remember, it's like there was some videos going around about how like two light fighters can kill an Idris and stuff. Like that's not happening. Like that doesn't exist. Like light fighters aren't ganging up and killing Idrises. If someone correct me in chat if I'm wrong, but I have never seen that in an entire year. It's
I mean,
always
it's
Idris on Idris or it's
possible, I
large
guess.
scale on large scale. Yeah, but you'd be there for hours, like
Yeah.
hours. Like it would be so ridiculous. So, I think a lot of people complain about that kind of stuff, but I've not seen any group waste their time doing something as silly as that.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of the fighter combat in comparison to taking out ships of that size gets a bad rep. But there's some big winners with this kind of stuff, and we got to talk about the armor pen stuff too. But like the ships that really could use the help, where this is a problem, is ships like the Perseus, right? Like the
Okay.
Perseus is really underdelivered since it came in because it
Oh, I
is
thought people
actually
loved
food
it.
for fighters. Oh, they love it,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
not good. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's food for like an Idris does not care about fighters. Like you'd have to be absolutely ridiculous, and you'd have to be dealing with so many players for it to be a problem for your Idris. But it is definitely a real problem for your Perseus, for example.
Got
So
it.
it's like that weight division between capital and fighters, so like sub cap stuff, which is the Perseus. That's and someone in the comments is going to roast me. It's a different title or name, but like those ships, it'll help like with that kind of stuff. So
Sick.
I think the range change is fine. Like all fighter combat sits inside of that range anyways, and if you're shooting outside it, you weren't really playing correctly anyways. So maybe that's a good thing too. Maybe it's steering people into knowing how to play better. And for multi-crew and turrets, you want the targets to be closer. So if you're incentivizing fighters to come closer towards turrets, then that's a great thing. So the radar change is a good aspect in that way.
Perfect.
I think, and the way I see it too, Mike, like because we can move on from the radar stuff too, is it's another layer to the game, and
Yep.
layers are good
Layers
because
are
layers
great.
they give you something to think about, right? It's
Yep.
like Tarkov. We already mentioned Tarkov back on the first podcast. I'm immediately talking about Tarkov,
This
but
is
it's
so
like
funny because you know how I always talk about Eve. He
yeah,
always talks
Tarkov.
about Tarkov. He is
Yeah,
exactly the same as me with Eve, but he's Tarkov. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
but Tarkov's interesting and like fun to think about and theory craft and make content about and do your research because it takes, for example, 30 pieces of equipment to put together a weapon.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's that depth of it. And you go into the workshop and you're, testing out shit. You're trying different combinations of stuff.
Yeah.
This is another layer. So it's a good thing. I think
Yeah.
it's a really good thing. As long as the balance is good and the balance looks pretty decent already. So,
Yeah. Outside of the
what's
thing I
wrong with that?
mentioned, I think that that's good. The little fighter stuff, or the ship that's meant to be able to, I don't know, your entry level bounty missions.
Mhm.
They're gonna. What's kind of good is that the starter ship will hit a wall earlier than it ever did, but it's hitting a wall instantly now. So that obviously has to change. But I think this is a perfect time with the radar and the big ship and the this talk to talk about a question that I got from my community because again, I'm not a PvPer. All I've done is think about mining in the last month. Is this kills PDCs attacking ships, doesn't it?
Uh, yeah, nobody knows if it's intentional or not. So like the whole PDC is not doing damage to ships because they're a much smaller weapon class.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's intentional. Um, but I think
If it
I think it
stays, do you
is.
hate it?
No, I think I think PDCs in general are silly. Like just because
Yeah.
like of how much lag they produce, and they feel like really rushed and they attack teammates. It's a total meme.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a good thing, for sure, for sure. Anything to slow down the Idris, yes. Um, so
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, if we think
it
back to their planned stuff was like they wanted fighters to go in and or like maybe medium and heavies to go in and take out turrets and PDCs and then you would fire the torpedo to like finish off the ship was there on paper this is going to be your capital fights and things like that um and everything so
Mhm.
that kind of gives that opportunity maybe now a little bit is if you're able to take the turrets out, you can go in and clean up the PDCs a little bit easier because they're not going to be doing too much damage to you. I don't know, but or any damage from what we know right now. But like you said, it may not be intentional, and they may buff that damage threshold a little bit.
I can't think of a time in the last maybe year where as a fighter wanting to like fight a capital ship, you've even flown anywhere near the PDCs. So
Yeah,
um yeah,
now
I
you
don't know
can
because the
is what I'm
PDCs
saying.
are a huge yeah, and the PDCs are a big question mark. It's like, are they supposed to even be attacking players? It's who knows what the answer to that is.
Yeah, yeah,
But I don't think anything changes in that regard. Like I don't think the 1200 meters means that you need to fly closer to capital ships to do damage to them. I don't think that matters because I don't think you should be flying close or even bothering with a capital ship anyways. Like if you're running into capital ships, the best answer is a capital ship.
Yeah.
Like that's so yeah, but like the Perseuses and stuff, that's another story. So yeah, I don't really know what the answer is when it comes to PDCs and um
We'll wait
but
and
I'm
see, I
always against
guess.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
hated
don't
them
mind I
from the
don't mind
start.
PDCs against like missiles and torps. I just think like
Yeah,
yeah, and
against
everything
ships, it
else
was
it's
always
just
weird.
silly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw this in the chat, and I think it's a good thing to. It was just a statement, but
Yeah.
somebody said there's not like a single fighter. Like fights are going to be more of like ship comp metas instead of just bring a bunch of light fighters. Do you think that's true? I know you guys are not going to like. I don't expect you to share secret org information that you don't want other people to
Oh,
know.
that's no,
You know
you're
what I
fine.
mean?
Like there's
But
no secrets in this stuff, but yeah,
yeah,
like do we think we're there yet? Probably not.
yeah,
Because this doesn't exclude fighters. And the problem is the design, Mike. It's like you've got an F8 uses size 2s and 3s. That's the same as a Gladius. The Talon
yeah.
randomly has size 4s.
Yeah, is
Like
the
but
Talon
the
like one of the
Talon's
best ships now?
it's not considered a heavy hitter. Like it's not described as a heavy hitter. So do I think it changes things? No, I think it changes the meta when it comes to ship loadouts rather than like squad and fleet compositions.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is an interesting thing too. It's like, do you want to go a repeater route and double down on fighter combat, or do you want to bring cannons and try to punch above your weight? So
yeah,
it gets interesting there too, and then you throw like crafting into the mix. How could that impact things? Like it's an interesting time, and again, like we want layers, so it's a good thing. Like there's
yeah.
absolutely a good thing. I think Ark put a comment asking if we would use
Yeah,
like the Ares Ion and
I was
stuff like
about to ask
that.
that
Like
one.
that's a great like we'd love to, and the game should push us there. We're just waiting for it. So,
What does
but
it need to
yeah,
do to
like
bring those in?
I think maybe now they finally have the kit. Maybe the answer is they get, a way larger radar than most ships in that category, which then gives them the range
Yeah.
because they get the pip, the assist, the ESP, all of that at a high range.
And then
And
who
then
are
the
they
bespoke
food
weapons
for?
get buffed. Fighters.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? So then it
Which I
starts
would
making
argue is a good
sense.
thing though.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it
Yeah.
starts to all make a lot more sense. That's good.
If it's scissors, paper, rock. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Now, okay, we talked a little bit about the meta instead of for ships. Light fighter meta is probably still going to be a thing, but it's more changing the loadout and the weapons on it. And for me, this is something as a not a good pilot, and so I kind of represent more of the community than maybe you and your org mates do, because
Sure.
most of the community is horrible at the game, right? In terms of this perspective. And well, repeaters were something that made aiming a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Mhm.
fired faster. Cannons fire slower and require a lot more skill and a lot more aim. So instead of like for me, this isn't like from what we could tell, not killing a light fighter meta, but also, did you feel that the skill floor was too low before? Because this change sounds like it's definitely bringing the skill floor for new and inexperienced players like myself to not be able to compete in PvP. And that's my
No,
fear here because cannons were always something that I struggled with because aim was a little bit harder. And then whenever repeaters were in the meta, yeah, I wasn't horrible. Like when we did the content creator tournaments, like I didn't do terrible. I did okay. And
yeah, that one you beat Bergs in?
well, that one I did really good, but
Okay.
yeah, like that was just lucky and stuff. And I had, Noodle was on point and all that, right? I definitely got carried, but I did my part. And, but that's because repeaters were the main weapons that I used when I did well, and cannons I struggle with. So, what do you think about that? Is that yeah,
Yeah, like it's hard to tell with the current balancing, but nah, I don't think it's a worry. Like, I
okay,
think that if you decide to go the slower weapons, it's because you want to punch above your weight, and punching above your weight isn't difficult. Like, so like if you're going these cannons, it's because you're planning to attack larger ships, and attacking larger ships is super easy. So it's like you're not having to, hit the bullseye anymore. You just have to hit the whole thing, right? So no, I don't think so. And could it go down a route of like if repeaters and those weapon speeds go out the window? Um, Keep in mind there's still like high velocity cannons as well. Um, that would
L-
like still be able to, like the FLs I think are the fastest ones if I were to
got it.
recall.
Okay,
Stuff like that,
so there'll be a
and
little
Omnis
lower
are
damage, but
yeah,
okay,
exactly, but still maintain a lot of the velocity. So no, I don't necessarily think so. I think you'd be fine. I would argue too, and we may as well cover this because with this subject's the light fighter meta, right? And
yeah,
I think the biggest issue, and to explain the reason I took the break, because I don't know if even in a private conversation you and me have spoke about this, but the reason I've taken January and February off is because I'm waiting for the ballistics to get fixed. Like, because the skill ceiling's the lowest it's ever been right
yeah,
now with the ballistics, because shields are completely redundant.
yep.
And I've been like super vocal when it comes to this, but the ballistic meta has been dreadful. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's like aim punch right now, which for the record is the worst mechanic ever. I
Wait, so
cannot
while
stand
you're in a
ship aim
ship,
punch.
there's aim punch?
Yeah, so if I'm shooting at you right now, if you and me were to get into a Gladius
Yeah.
and go into free flight, if I shoot you with ballistics, your ship's gonna get bounced around, and you're gonna start like you've got giant recoil, and
Wait,
you're
they
gonna be
put
drifting off.
force reactions on ships, basically.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay,
the
great
worst
job.
part. Here's the thing, too. My understanding is it's a bug,
Yeah.
but then it was also as a stat on the crafted ship weapons. So like
Oh yeah,
there's
I
also
remember.
like they're planning on it, like so, which guys is the dumbest idea ever. Okay, like I cannot defend you, CIG, when you put stuff in like that. Okay, like that is making no single person in this entire game happier. By the way,
It's same with
but
FPS. Like the whenever you would get knocked down by things like shotguns, it was
oh my god,
hilariously memey when it happened when you did it to someone else, but the most frustrating experience in the world when it happened
it's
to
the
you.
force reactions will go down as the worst mechanic they've ever introduced, in my opinion. Like, I,
Agreed.
I've I've seen not one single good thing about it, and it has just caused so many issues for the longest time. Like,
It's
the
so dumb.
only cool thing was when you're in a ship and you had multi-crew and you'd slam on the brakes and it would send you forward. Like, that was the only cool thing, and it was like a little funny, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
everything else just super silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
that's in ships, so like that was bringing the skill ceiling down, and then a lot of the skill of playing like PvP in Star Citizen is using your shields, right? It's like it's deciding, can you take this fight with your shields, and how much boost you've got, and what's your boost pool look like in comparison to your shields, and what damage they're gonna do. Now with the ballistics just going completely through shields are just not even thought about. So
Yeah.
like fighting, there's been a lot of arguments. Oh, master modes is just a numbers game, which is not true. But with the ballistics, it absolutely is the case. It's like you can't even play 1v2s versus ballistics now, because in times where you're using that buffer to play the game and try to outplay people, it doesn't even exist. So you're
Yeah.
just getting hosed from the very beginning of the fight to the end. You are getting hosed and taking damage, and there's nothing that you can fly to change that. So that's why I haven't been playing it. And that, with the current balancing of what we've got on the Evo, it looks like could be gone because with the resistance to the armor, and we got to talk about this.
Yeah, please, because
The
I don't
armor
actually
pen
know
stuff.
anything about this. So yeah, let's talk about armor pen. There's new resistances toward, like, they've made some changes, but also if you could touch on, they did mention that shields got a buff, but I don't know to what extent.
Yeah, so the shield's got a blanket buff. I think the value is close to like 30%. And it's to
Damn. Okay.
compensate for the fact that they are like increasing the longevity of like armor and like hull, right? So they're
Yeah.
just trying to make it like a smoother transition instead of you just blitz through the shield real quick and then all of a sudden you're playing the whole game. And everything you did on the shield was only the first 10% of the fight. So
And
like I
correct me
think
if I'm wrong, they also like are kind of bringing it back to where you might use lasers to take down shields and ballistics to take down armor. Am I correct on that?
no, it looks
No?
like lasers are just better. Yeah, it
Lasers
looks
just
like
better. Yeah.
lasers at the moment, which I very much welcome because for the longest time, and I'm sure you know this too, because you still dabbled in PvP and at least kept up with it.
I try
Ballistics has
to.
rarely ever been the meta. Like it's
No.
always
Yeah.
90% of the time it's been laser, and the
Yeah.
game's actually like way better off for that. Like because ballistics really don't make sense. We'd have to do a whole nother podcast on why that's the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could
But
touch on it briefly. It just seems like they continuously refuse to just like ballistics are X and repeaters are, or excuse me, and lasers are Y, and they never they. It's always like ballistics go through shields and do, like, it's like, why are ballistics always this extra? They never like they've never achieved the idea of like, I definitely want two lasers and two ballistics on my ship at any given time. They've never done that as an option. Or
yeah,
like,
it's never.
I want five ballistic gladiuses and five laser repeater arrows in my fleet that I'm going out and playing with. So when we go, we're going to take down shields and then you're going to come in with the ballistics. Like, they've never had that be a thing, and it's so annoying. It drives me
Yeah, they've never
nuts.
figured it out. Like
Yeah.
it's just, but because it's like, and every time the ballistics have surfaced to the top, it's like everybody's miserable
Yeah.
because it has like huge impacts on it. Because just think about it, and we'll just cover it real quickly. It's like they don't take power on the, they don't take power on the pips,
Yep. So you
so
got a
they're for
ton more
free.
pips. Yep.
They go through shields and make all of shield gameplay redundant.
Yep.
And then what's
And
the
they have more
downside?
pen. They
Yeah,
have more
and then
penetration.
they get more pen, and then because you don't need to use as much power, you can afford to transition your components to stealth. So
Yep.
you get, so for some reason when you run ballistics, you also become stealth. Like it doesn't make much sense, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just there's these upsides and there's no downsides, and therefore their answer is to just reduce the damage. So it's like then like what's the design here? So
Yeah.
it's something they're gonna have to look at, and I think they're gonna have to do a big change one day because it just
Yep.
doesn't make sense, and it never will
No,
unless
and
they change the rules to it. So
exactly. And what I saw a comment in the Twitch chat, which is like so totally on point. They are not, ballistic and laser is not a damage type like it is in other games, but it kind
no,
of needs to be. It
yeah,
kind of needs to be. And then your shields could be against lasers and your armor can be against ballistics or whatever. I don't know. But the like, when it's a damage type, then all of a sudden it's a lot easier to balance, I think. And then yeah, the game can get really cool in that way where, like, I don't know, just throwing things out there. Origin ships could be really good against laser damage, and then anvil ships can be really good against
well, like
uh
crafting, when you
physical or
craft a
whatever.
ship, it's like you invest points in ballistic hull
Yep.
resistance, and
Yep.
yeah, there's got to be something there. But the fact that they fundamentally play so differently and completely bypass parts of the game is just like super strange. Just
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
ballistics do not fit into capacitors. They don't fit into shields. So, but
Yeah.
either way, I didn't want to get stuck on that. The armor value stuff. So the big one, right? And this is where like a lot of this like fighter stuff is coming from. And it's a good thing for multi-crew ships too. Is they've introduced like these armor values to ships.
Okay.
Now we'll talk about what's in there so far, but the big one is we don't know what they're trying to do, and it feels a little buggy. So
Okay.
there's some inconsistencies with it. So like take what I say with a grain of salt. By the time you watch this
It's
podcast,
Evo 2,
it might
guys.
be different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Evo
So
2. Expect things to change.
but yeah, but at the moment, there is a flat value that each ship has in regards to its like armor resistance, and it has two resistances. One's the ballistic, and one's the laser. Now, across the board, the ballistic resistance is much higher,
Okay.
and it's lower for the lasers, which I
And
think is a good thing.
this
But
is armor, right?
yeah, this is armor. This is
Yeah.
after the shield. Yeah. So now now this
So
is
are they
how it
damage
current
types? I guess they are. I don't know.
who knows.
Okay.
But as it stands, and it's hard to tell if this was a bug or not, but and I didn't think this was the case up until the last minute before I got in here, but I was told that it is a flat gatekeeping stat. So it is if a ship theoretically has 450 hull resist for laser damage, yeah, then your alpha damage, so per shot, per bullet, needs to be higher than that, and then it does the full damage of that. So if
That's
your
what somebody
hull,
asked. Okay, cool.
yeah, so if your hull value is 450 and my alpha damage on the weapon I'm using is 470, then I do 470 per shot.
Yeah, you
Now
don't
the
do
question
20.
is,
You don't do 20
yeah,
damage. You do
and the question
470
is
damage.
that and we don't know if that's intentional or not, but
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. And that's what we're getting from the results we have. But keep in mind, it's inconsistent. It's riddled with bugs. It's hard to tell. So a lot of people like, oh, this ship is immune to this. This ship is immune to that. We don't know the truth of it. Yeah.
Got it.
But some of the repeaters aren't doing damage to some of the ships. But then a lot of it doesn't make sense. And then you swap out weapons or weapon types, and then those ships suddenly start doing weapon damage anyways. So keep that in mind. But between the radar and the resistances, it definitely goes up. Now, one thing I want to add to this too, because this is a little interesting. The lower the shields you get, the more it starts to penetrate. So say the shields are absorbing a certain amount of damage. As that shield progressively gets lower, more damage starts bleeding through it. The same is with the armor too. So as your ship starts to get more banged up, the floodgates start to open and it starts to take way more damage as well.
Yeah.
And we've observed that from the tests too. So what you could expect is small ships won't be able to do damage to large or small. I shouldn't say small ships. Small weapons
Yeah.
will not be doing damage to the very large ships. And the ships in between, they will. They just will have to customize their ship's fit to match to be able to do so.
Yeah.
Um, so keep that in mind. Yeah. So it's like vanguards and stuff, they can completely ignore some of the smaller weapon sizes and the weapon types. But it's, you know, it can go the other way. So it's it's not set in stone or anything like that. And my argument to this, and this is a lot of why I kind of wanted to go on the podcast, is because I find this discussion to be so silly.
Me too. Me
Because
too.
when people are sitting there going, "Oh, the Hammerhead's finally gonna have its day. It's gonna shred up these fighters."
Yeah,
Do
okay.
you think that if the fighters can't do damage to you, that they're even gonna stay around and do the dance? Like not
Nobody's
if
going to
you're
stand there and die.
anti-air, no one's gonna play if they can't touch you. You know, if they can't do damage at all, no one's gonna play the game. So like this is where this actually like mini concerns me now. The current balancing of it is not a big deal. It's actually not that badly balanced, and there's only a few like quirks that could get it fixed and patched up, no problem. But if we're playing a game, Mike, and you've watched my stream, for example, like I, you know, in the first 20 minutes, I'm fighting an arrow and a gladius, and then an hour later, I'm getting chased by a Connie, and then an hour and a half later, I'm getting chased by an Idris. Now, if I can only fight the fighters, and the Connie wants to come after my bounty, well, and I can't even do damage to the Connie, then we both lose. Like,
Yeah,
because I'm
exactly.
not gonna play with that guy, and he's coming after my bounty. So if they can only punch down, then the other guys aren't even gonna play along. And
This
it's
is
the
such an
same.
impossible thing though, because if you think about the same scenario in a group fight, then it all makes sense. Because like if the Connie's
Mhm.
on the field, the light fighters are going to stay away from it, and the Connie is doing damage to, I don't know, something else. But
Yeah.
Connie's probably a bad example. Maybe the Hammerhead or Perseus or something like that's the better example in this case. But the the 1v1s, yeah, it feels really shitty. But then in a group fight on paper, it sounds like, wow, okay, now the Hammerhead is achieving its goal, but it's achieving it in the shittiest way possible, because because you can't damage it. It's not because it fucks you up.
Yes. Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
problem
So
here,
like,
guys.
and my argument would be is like maybe just and people hate this, but I am of the opinion that even if it's such a minimal amount, every ship should be able to damage every ship, but other ships should just specialize in it.
Well,
Like, so because otherwise you just have these weird interactions of, okay, we have to call it, or I have to get out of here, or we can't fight this because of XYZ. And again, like, if a hammerhead is to exist, which I'm totally fine with and I'm totally supportive of, okay, I love multi-crew, don't get it twisted, but they need to have a back and forth with someone. And if there's just a straight up blanket of you can't do damage to me, but I'm actually supposed to hunt you, then no one on the other side of that coin is going to play the game, because everyone that's in a fight is going to go, oh, well, I can't do damage to a hammerhead, so let's just ignore and run away from that guy. Let's just leave him in the dust and fight the other people. Like, so, or Connie's, for example, like, how do you stop Constellate? Like, if constellations are going after fighters, medium, small, light, whatever, and those two can't even interact because it's just one sided. And I'm not complaining that they're OP. I'm complaining that the fight won't even happen.
yeah, that
Like, I want it to be an even ground. If that's what, like, if they want it to be an even ground, like, sure, make it an even ground.
but
But
there's no such thing.
like, let them play.
So like
Go ahead.
how I'm like reading what you're saying is, thinking about other
Hmm.
games that I've played that have PvP in them, is when a Connie comes, it's like you're solo and there's 5 of them. Like regardless if
Hmm.
that ship is filled with players or not, it's the same scenario in every, like, oh, you're just zerging, screw you, you suck, you need 5 people to kill me, and stuff like that. And again, everybody loses in that scenario, like you're saying. It's not fun. Um
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's so hard to balance the game around the two scenarios, is what I keep thinking about. Is like,
And
yeah, most of the time when you're playing solo, you have a bounty on your head, and you never know who's coming. And when it's
yeah,
the Connie, when it's the Idris, when it's the ship that you can't damage now, yeah, everyone's just gonna lose. But in what world would you ever should you be able to win? So
no,
that's like the
and
hard
the
part
only, and
for
I'm
me.
and I'm not arguing for us to win. For
Yeah,
example, like,
I guess
I'm
I'm
not
asking you to
saying,
clarify that because I'm a little confused. But
yeah,
yes, okay.
I'm not saying that a fighter should solo a Connie
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all.
No, no,
I'm
and I
just
know
saying
you're
that
not. I know you're not.
fighters, maybe in a larger amount of numbers, should be able to slowly wither down a ship like that. They should be able to contribute something, like whether it's really slow, and if you were to instead rotate into a specialized ship that was the Scissors Paper Rock counter to the Connie, an Ion, for example, or something like along those lines, then you would do much better. But I am only hesitant of reducing a ship's damage output to another ship to zero because I think that's lazy. That's all. Like
Yeah,
if it's a tiny minimal amount, then that's enough. Like
I can counter
and
that a little. I think though, is
go for
like we can't go a podcast without talking about Eve Online. Do you
it.
think? Do you think it's cool to still have 50 catalysts, which are really high damage, but paper thin ships in Eve Online, that somebody will run 20 accounts and kill a giant cargo ship running in high sec in 2 seconds. That's obviously not the scenario that we'll have in Star Citizen necessarily, or there's ships that like spool up damage slowly over time, and people use those to kill like structures and stuff like that. In Eve Online, any ship can kill any ship so long as you have enough damage, right? It's just uh but at the same time, like a scenario like you've brought up a couple times now is I'm in a Gladius, they're in a Connie. Well, that scenario is not a winnable one in Eve Online, and that works okay too.
I Yeah.
So it's hard.
The
It's
only
tough. I
thing
don't know what the right solution is.
I think the solution is, you balance it towards where the balance is supposed to go. And I'm not just saying it's supposed to go in the fighter's direction. Okay.
But
And
you would need to have 10.
what ships Yeah, but you would but you could contribute something to it, even if it's a very small amount. It's like another way to look at it too is like, do we want to just leave the guy out who's got an Aurora and say he's doing absolutely nothing, he shouldn't even be here? Or do you want to just say, oh well, he did at least 2% damage to the hull, in the fight where all the rest of us were at? I just think hard exclusions of ships being able to even damage ships is a bad way to go. I think because
That's fair.
then you're reducing the amount of interactions that happen, and it's on a small scale. Like I'm not thinking large scale here because large scale is totally different. I'm thinking on a small scale, like under the number 20, under the number 10, even under the number 5. It's like you can't control what you're running into,
Yeah.
and if we're now means that if you're in an arrow, you can't do damage to a vanguard, then that means that's 20% less PvP right there. Like they're
Yeah.
not even going to interact, and it defeats the purpose of what these guys want. Hammerheads want to start beating fighters. I'm supportive of that. But
Yes.
if you make fighters unable to do damage to hammerheads, then congrats, you buffed the hammerhead, but now all the fighters aren't going to play ball anymore.
But yeah, again, the Hammerhead didn't beat the light fighter in that scenario either.
Yeah,
It
but
just
but
it
they
can't
want
lose.
but people that
There's a
fly the
difference.
hammerhead want to. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
no, yeah.
do
It's
you think you get what I'm saying? Like they
no,
they finally
100%.
want that fight. Yeah.
Yeah, they
And I
want the
think they're
fight
not going to get
though.
it.
Like you said, it's
Yeah.
lose lose if this happens. And let me try and put what I think you're saying out there, and then tell me if I'm wrong. If like the best, I think a really good example you gave right now is the Vanguard, Arrow versus
Mhm.
Vanguard. If they say Arrow cannot hurt the Vanguard, that's bad. But if they say the Arrow's damage is reduced by 66% against the Vanguard, then I'm just throwing a number out there. Then that could potentially be good because now it requires
Yeah.
3 arrows to kill a Vanguard instead of
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
And now,
which I love that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's sort of where a question that somebody asked earlier that I haven't got to yet. It was like, where do you see the light fighters role, and like then mediums and heavies? Is that what you? That's, I'm assuming, what you would want to see is like the light will struggle to put damage on these, and you might need more, and the heavies, and then medium and heavy,
Yeah,
it's
the
like
bigger the
balanced from there.
target, the more fighters you need. And keep in mind, like when it comes to my org, we are 1/3 fighter pilots, 1/3 capital ships and
Yep.
multi-crew, and
Yep.
1/3 FPS now. Like so I'm not just on the boat of, hey, I only want to fly around with a group of 20 arrows and call it a day for the rest of the game.
No.
Fuck no. Not the game I want at all. Not
Yeah,
in the
I can attest
slightest.
to that too. I get
Um,
DMs from you and your guys occasionally when there's like a cool fight that happened and everybody's pumped,
yeah,
and they never talk about we were in a bunch of light fighters. It's always when
yeah,
it escalated into like capital stuff.
yeah. So I just yeah, we just like the goal's got to be to include more people, and
Yep.
I think that we got to be careful of by making this a stat, excluding the more people than helping. That's all.
Yeah.
Like I want people that are in multi crew to have a lot of fun and get the combat that they've never gotten. And
Yep.
I think that if you just move everything over to that side and make them immune to damage to what they're supposed to counter anyways, then you've missed the mark. Is
Yeah.
all. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's not about shouldn't a light fighter smoke a Connie, or should it even be an even fight? That's not up to me, nor do I have an opinion on it. But what I do think is that you should still encourage them to be able to pull a result rather than one just cancels out the other. Because if that's the case, they're not going to play anymore. That
Yep.
like those fighters versus Connie fights are gone, and the Connie guys might really want that because they've been on the downside of this the whole time.
But again, they're not
That's all.
winning. They're just not losing.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
huge difference here.
But that doesn't feel good.
No,
Like
exactly
just
on either
because you're
side.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It
They
doesn't
may
feel
feel
like
good in
winning
the
for the
short
other
term.
guy. Yeah.
They may feel
Like
good in the
someone in
short
your
term, but yeah.
comments, someone in the Twitch chat said, "Well, they technically won by area denial." Yeah, but like that doesn't feel like a win, man. That just like that's not,
They
you
can
know, like
still
no
win
one.
by area denial by having really strong turrets against light fighters. They do not
Yeah.
win by area denial by not being able to damage them. That's the point that we're trying to
Area
make here. Is if they were
yeah.
scary because they hurt you, that's good. If they're scary because you can't hurt them, that's bad. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like, yeah, we want the gameplay to still happen. That's all. Like
Yeah.
area denial because the enemy jumped out because you brought some cheese isn't fun for anyone.
Yeah.
Um and another thing we have to add to this, right, Mike, is if we're going down this route of bigger means tankier and in some cases means immune to other ships, should they get these stats and not have to crew these ships? Like if the ships
Good
are getting
point.
more armor and more defensive capabilities, but there's still just a single guy in the driver's seat, then are we? Is the game pay to fucking win? Is it even way more pay to fucking win?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You
And
know?
somebody commented on my YouTube video where I said this is bringing it into a more pay to win role. They were like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Blah 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 blah. And it's like very obviously going in that direction. I don't think purposefully, but yeah, this isn't promoting people to crew the ship. This isn't promoting people to have engineers repairing a ship that can't get damaged. This isn't
Yeah.
promoting people to be in turrets that are the actual area denial factor of the ship. So yeah, no, this is.
I paid $1,500. Don't worry, these guys are broke. They can't do damage to
It's
us.
not even that.
Don't
If
worry about it.
you pay 45, you lose automatically. Like the
Yep.
scenario that I gave right now, that this obviously like from that perspective, that's just me giving feedback. I'm not crying, complaining, "Oh my god, the sky is falling." It's like, "Hey, if you don't change this, that's not going to be fun for a good portion of your player base. It's going to be horrible." And the other thing is like nowhere does the game really communicate to you that you're not doing enough damage, right? It's like you just keep shooting, and like I don't know about you, but I think somebody in the chat said earlier, if you're not penning through the armor because it doesn't give you a hit marker. As somebody who's not super good, I don't even notice if that is happening or not. I'm going to be honest. I just look and I see the laser or the ballistic bouncing off of the ship or making a flash or whatever, and I'm like, I'm hitting the ship. I'm on target. So, as a new player, they're just going to be fighting this thing over and over again and have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So, it's there has to be other things that go on here as well. All right, I
The good news is
go
my
ahead, go ahead.
favorite fight is not even affected by any of this anyway, so
Gladius.
completely fine. Not the Idris.
Oh, your favorite fighter is the Idris.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course. It
You know,
only gets better now. You just can't kill it.
the best single seat fighter in the game is completely unaffected by this, the Idris.
Yeah,
One thing worth
we're good.
mentioning too, real quickly, that's interesting. I don't think people have realized this either, but because of the radar changes, the Idris loses the pip at 3K.
Oh, okay,
That's
that's
like
kind
a
of
big
big.
one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of big.
So the sniping Idris stuff gets a little bit of a nerf. But I think that's like a really important point we've got to now look at, because that's gonna be the question we're all asking ourselves after this has been in our hands for like a month or two is, well, now the more money you spend, technically the more immune to damage you are.
Yep.
And that scales directly with how many players are supposed to be in your ship, which CIG is absolutely not bothered to make a thing, right?
No,
And that's what we got to start looking at is like, I know this isn't a multi-crew podcast, but man,
but it
these
is.
solo ships that are supposed to have all these manned stations on them and turrets and stuff. Just getting these gigantic defensive buffs, and that's just a single guy in there that swiped the card still. So,
And he's just
um,
it's the 890 jump commercial where all the whales are just having a party inside their 890 jump and the PDCs are just destroying every ship around it. That's every Star Citizen whale right now. They're just
yeah,
drinking champagne in a ship that can't possibly die. Um
yeah.
okay. I'll ask this question from ArcVR in the chat real quick, and then I want to go into a little stealth stuff, and then we can probably call it. Um,
hmm
could components and weapon crafting upgrading change our current expectations? I don't think so.
Sorry,
Because it
sorry. Read it again. Sorry.
could
Oh, here we
components
go.
and weapon crafting slash upgrading change our current expectations?
Yeah, like I mean, if like pen values go up, it becomes like a prevalent stat in the crafting, and like alpha. If you can buff, if you can choose in crafting between buffing the fire rate on a weapon rather than the alpha damage on the weapon, well, you could then sit there and be like, oh, well, I really want these laser repeaters to be able to fight this weight division, which would be like heavy fighters in this case, and I want to, through crafting, tip it over the threshold and be able to do damage. Then yeah, like but again, it's going to
But
depend
again, we
on the
don't want the
complexities of the
threshold.
crafting.
We
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
necessarily want that.
Yeah, we don't want it to be black and white like it is.
Yeah.
But we don't know if that's the case, if that's the intent or whatever, and if it's within balance too. But yeah, like I think the crafting could make, like, adding the layers of crafting and being able to customize what direction you want to craft the weapon towards could make things interesting for sure. Like, yeah, like penetration value might be a stat you focus on and
Yeah.
might be the meta for PvP with crafting. And then PvE, it's just raw damage. Like that's how it works in other games. There's stats for PvP that are invested in and stats for PvE and stuff. So yeah, it could be cool. Like honestly, the crafting is so exciting, and I know, me and Mike are talking behind the scenes on business stuff with it. So I think the potential with crafting is fucking limitless, to be honest. It just depends on how well
Just
and
not
how
in
deep they decide to
4.7.
go.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
limited in 4.7, obviously, but
yeah,
I mean, right at the beginning, we talked about layers. I mean, the easiest place to place layers is in crafting. You go from your iron ore, you combine it with coal, and then it becomes steel, and then you combine steel with something else, and it becomes Durasteel. And they just
and
you keep layering.
that's the one thing we don't want, right? Is like a small amount of layers. Just keep fucking adding them. Like,
Yeah,
give
go
us
crazy.
more and more options with the crafting. Like, there's no
Exactly.
such thing as a bad option.
No,
So yeah, like just as deep as they go, the more interesting it'll be. And yeah, it could be really cool if they decided to be the answer, I think.
agreed. All right, I want to talk quickly about stealth a little bit because I thought this was super cool. I don't know what you think. What do you think about the fact that you now have to ping to see to for the radar to recognize a ship's CS signature, cross section signature? So radars now will passively be detecting EM and IR constantly. So if your
Yeah.
IR signature is high, your EM signature is high, you're going to hear whatever the sound is, like target or whatever that you hear when somebody like pops onto your radar. But if their IR and EM signatures are low and you are not actively pinging, you will not see them if even if they're within range with their cross section. So I think it's like talk about layers. I think this has added a very interesting layer to stealth and a cat and mouse, and it sounds like it's going to be really fun. Have not tested it yet. I'm only talking about on paper, but I like it. I think this is going to make Hathor super crazy now. Because if you are not paying attention, somebody can just sneak on you so much easier.
Yeah. Like I've always wanted stealth to play a bigger role in the game. And I remember that like there's been times where like the talent and stuff like that were like really over the top with stealth, and it was so much fun. And yeah, like you said, speaking of layers, it's awesome. And you know, like being able to put together like a ship fit to fit into like a stealth aspect of the way you're playing the game,
Yeah.
would be so awesome. Like, you know, you run like shotguns, super high alpha, and you try to sneak up on people and blitz them with the fit is like the dream.
Yep.
Absolutely the dream.
There's the other,
And
like, just the general idea of before you used to just try to get your EM and IR signatures just under your CS signature. So that you're the only, because that's basically how it worked. If your EM and IR was below your cross section, then the radar would just detect whatever was higher. Now there's again that a little bit of a layer, and there's a reason for you to lower um, your IR and EM even lower than your CS signature, because you could potentially get in really stealthy. The other thing I just thought of earlier this morning was now when a ship is turned off on the ground, if you don't ping, you don't see it because there is no EM and IR signature anymore, right? So that's big as
yeah.
well. So there's a lot of like
I remember
interesting
too,
things
like
there.
I remember even like Yogi talking about like you can the saber will always be considered stealth because it's got like the internal missiles, like the missile bay comes out from and that's how it works in real life too, right?
Yeah.
It's like the more missiles and guns you have hanging off the wings, the more obvious it is to radar. So you have to actually start looking at the cross section of these ships, which I know actually already have assigned values, but you know, like to see some of these ships that aren't getting the time of day, like the Saber, which has just been absolutely cursed for like 4 years now. Um, if the CS stat and the CS gameplay is what brings it, you know, back into the light, then hell yeah, could be like so much fun. So yeah, I'm super supportive of it. There's just like there's times where you know, stealth can be like really gimmicky and break the game. Like if every ship has like if the meta is just absolute stealth, then you just lose track of targets and you lose each other and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I want to
There's
ask
times
you.
where that's happened.
Do you
So
know?
but
Do you, just to jump in? I feel like I have to in this specific case. Is do you know if this change, like, okay, if you have extremely low EM and IR, and I have to ping to see you, are you constantly going to be unlocking? Whether you know or not, I feel like that would be a horrendous experience. So, like, I feel like
yeah, I'm not sure.
if you ping, you stay on my radar for a while or until you're out of range of some kind, right? Like a significant range. Like that's because that whole gameplay of you just like it's not even gameplay, just like constantly being unlocked and not for a reason like firing
What do you mean
noise.
by unlocked?
You know when like you fire noise and immediate like the target, you
Oh
lose
yeah,
target
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah,
and that would just
yeah,
happen randomly with stealth all the time,
yeah,
even though you could
yeah. Which is
see the
why they
person.
nerfed the hell out. It basically took it off the board and like just made everybody visible. So
Yeah.
I remember that being a huge. I named my cat after it. You know what's
Bogey.
funny?
Bogey.
Yeah, like
Bogey.
because what would happen was they had a patch where the arrow had like a really low signature, and so all you'd hear in your audio was bogey, 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 and for like
Yep.
2 months, all I heard was bogey, 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 and so I
I
bought
just
a
turned
cat and I
off the
named
ship
it after
sounds.
that. Yeah, that's how I actually named my cat. But yeah, there's been times in the past where it's been an absolute curse, and there's been times in the past where it's been like so much fun. Like there's iterations of stealth which were awesome, and there were accidental stats to stealth that were just dreadful for the game too. So
Great
as long
story.
as they like care
Compelling
about
and
it and
rich.
go in carefully and slow, then for sure I'm super supportive of it. But I'll tell you this too, I have barely done any research. Like this is the weakest one in regards to research I've done
I mean, it
this
just
Evo.
happened.
Like I've barely looked. Yeah,
Yeah, it literally
barely
just
looked at it.
happened. And
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's all exciting for me in my mind of what could happen, but we don't know
yeah.
exactly what's going on there. So I'm just thinking Hathor because that's my favorite content in the game. Uh, like being able to sneak in a stealthy ship and steal some pure Karenite or something without them even knowing that you're there and get out sounds like a very cool experience if it's possible. We'll see.
Did
Um,
you want to do calls at all? Well, I
let's
saw
see. I don't know
Viper
if
was in the
anybody's
green
in.
room a second. I know
Oh,
I saw Viper was in there before. It's gone.
yeah, he's gone now. But yeah, I guess if we can, we could like chat for like a few seconds and see if we can get anybody in the calls. But if you guys want to join, exclamation point podcast in the chat. That'll get you the Discord link, and you pop in the green room. Anybody, because there's lots of talk. Yeah, there you go. Viper's there. Um, there's lots of talk about before we bring Viper in, because you mentioned real life. I wanna just ask you this because I think it's funny. Because I saw it in the YouTube comments. I am reading you guys over there as well at the same time here, and there was one guy who's been kind of spamming this. Is well, if I walk up to a tank with a pistol, the bullet's gonna bounce off as well, and like applying these real life scenarios to a video game, and I don't know what you think, but I just laugh at those comments because I just
Yeah,
think they're
ban
so
that guy. I
stupid.
think ban that dude.
Ban that dude? Okay. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
to ban
think.
anybody on YouTube, but I will. I'll work on it. Yeah.
No, I just
Dumb
like it's
dumb
not.
comment.
No, like I think the answer is like the game's got to be fun, and if if the guy doesn't go anywhere near the tank because he does no damage, and the tank just sits there idle, and whenever he flies around, no one wants to play with him, or whenever he drives around, no one wants to play with him, then it's a sad tank. Yeah, I think is the answer. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
The tank wants to play the game, and so does the other guy, and the balance should sit where it belongs.
Yeah.
But they should still play the game.
Yeah. Also, the problem, like I see this from Tumblrino in the chat. The problem is as well, unlike IRL, everyone has a fucking tank, guys. Like, you know,
True.
in America at least, everyone can go get a pistol, but not everyone can go get a tank. In Star Citizen,
Yeah.
everybody has a tank. So this makes no sense. So yeah, stop using real world examples for video game ideas. It's the dumbest thing. I can't stand it. We always try to do that, and you end up with a unfun video game when you do that. Because you know what? Life is not that fun, and life's not fair. And video games are supposed to kind of take you a little bit of way away from the unfairness of life. And that's one of the more annoying things about Star Citizen is the more money you pay, the better you are, and that's not really um, necessarily the best thing because that's kind of how life is. And yeah, I like to escape that aspect of life in my video games, so it kind of annoys me. All right, you ready to bring Viper in?
Yep.
All right, cool. Viper, make sure you unmute. I'm bringing you in so you can hear. Hello, Viper. Welcome. Viper, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys
Okay,
hear me?
cool. Yeah, we hear you loud and clear now.
Yo.
What do you want to talk
Uh,
about?
um, so I just wanted to. I've been a long time listener, first time caller. I
Hell
know that's
yeah.
what everyone. And I just want to call and talk about like I kind of posted it in the chat
I might have
in
missed
the.
it.
I didn't know if you guys were taking calls or not because I know you'd put out that message.
Yeah.
But it was just essentially like for the damage threshold. Like I feel like the biggest thing that the game needs is like visual. Well, first of all, like informational feedback that like you're not able to damage these ships. Like some sort of visual effect. I was trying to look for it while I was waiting for the call to go through, but it was in the 2024 CitizenCon where they were talking about like the new AI and the new flight model.
Just
Okay.
pull the
So,
mic a bit away. Sorry.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, keep going.
But it was in the
Oh, that's so much better.
2024
Thank you for saying
CitizenCon.
that.
They were talking about like the AI and like their new AI and whatever, but there was like a visual effect that was appearing on the screen whenever enemy AI were like shooting at other enemy AI. I don't know if I was trying to find it, but it's essentially like a big visual effect that was appearing whenever like it looked like a deflection or like something that would like give the feedback of, hey, you're not able to do enough damage. Like I've been agreeing with you guys like this whole time of like what you've been talking about. Like
Mhm.
it does suck for a new player, and like a lot of my friends that I play with are like Bobs. Like they don't really play the game a whole lot, and especially in like a competitive sense. But they always talk about these frustrations with like, how do you know what meta shield loadout to bring, what meta weapons to bring? Like you have to go to these third party websites to find all this, and it's just I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I never thought that was a bad thing. Like I'll tell you, like I know that wasn't the question, or what you wanted to, but I always thought that was a good thing. Like I thought that when I could think about a game when I'm not playing a game is like a really good
Okay.
sign for a game.
Yeah.
Like so, you know, like when I have to go do research or I have to use like content creators or YouTube
I think like
video
Urkel
guides
is
or
probably the best
yeah,
example.
yeah,
Yeah.
like going on Urkel, it's fun. It was always fun to me, and then that like discover aspect too. And I think that when the game is just pointing you in the right direction to go all the time, it's like games that you'd look at that like would be Star Wars Squadrons or something.
Mm.
So I just never, I always thought it was a good thing when you could go outside the game and like learn it, and it would be on your mind outside of the client as well. So
Yeah.
it never really bothered me. But sorry, as far as the what you were talking about, the like the UI elements to tell you when you're not doing stuff, yeah, like no one's gotten an objection to that. I don't think. Like as
Yeah.
long as it doesn't look dorky and arcadey, right?
I have an
Like that's it.
okay, maybe it will look arcadey. I was wondering what you guys think about this. I'm throwing it out there. When shields go down on the UI, it's very obvious, right? They're up or they're down.
Mhm.
You could physically see them on the UI. Armor is a lot more difficult. Are we really against health bars? Are we against health bars in our UI of the ship that we're targeting? I'm not
Maybe if they
at
were
all.
optional, or if it was tied. No, better yet, if it was on the MFD or something.
That's
Yeah,
what I mean,
sure.
on
Like
the
that'd be fine.
MFD. On the
Yeah,
MFD.
yeah,
Not physically
yeah.
on the ship. I would hate the idea of a health bar on the target reticle, like when you target the ship, but on the
Mhm,
MFD I'm saying. I think that's okay.
mhm.
Yeah, like I don't want to like target an NPC and see his health. I think that's silly. But yeah,
And what
like
you're
come
saying
on.
too, Viper, right? What you're saying too, Viper, right, is that you'd be concerned that new players would go into a patch like this and just not even realize that they're
Yeah,
even, yeah. And maybe that's something to be considered given it's an Evo. Maybe this shouldn't ship or they should come up with some sort of solution pretty quickly as to why that's the case. Like
Yeah.
I remember there was points in time where if you were doing hull damage, the section of the ship you're shooting would flash, like in
Mhm.
the MFD. Do you remember that?
Yep,
Like,
yep,
mhm.
yep.
like that was an indicator, and maybe it just doesn't flash if you're not doing any damage at all.
Let me bring up an
There's
old Chris
definitely
Roberts game.
ways they could do.
Wing Commander MFDs. I think
There's so
You
many
can
PvPers in your chat right now. It's so funny.
uh there was armor and yes, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. It's a bit hard to see, but it's only for us and not really for them. I think the Kilrathi probably didn't have armor, maybe did. I'm trying to remember, but let me see if I can bring this up. I have to. It's obviously from like the 90s, so it
So
might be a little
Dread
bit weird.
Pirate's saying that the flashing's still a thing, and it
Okay,
doesn't flash if you're not doing damage.
got it.
So
But here's like an old CR game where the blue lines are your shields and the green lines are your armor. Now, obviously, that this is your enemy that you're targeting, so you don't
Mhm.
see that. It just has shields. I can't remember if the enemies had armor or not, but you could see your armor versus theirs.
uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, okay.
like, is that really that bad, guys? I don't think it's that bad. And I think in
Someone
Wing Commander
mentioned too you
5, like,
can
you could
see
see it.
someone mentioned too you can see your hull value in the engineering MFD. Is that the case?
I
Hmm.
don't know.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
But that's only on your
But I
own
mean,
ship,
like,
not on the ship you're
but you can
targeting.
also see the HP value when you're using a what's the towing ship? What's the name of the towing
SRV.
ship? Yeah. So like when you're hauling something with the SRV, like you can see the HP value of the ship.
So what
I
you're saying
remember.
is it exists, and you could used to be able to see it when scanning too.
Yeah.
So
Oh
like
yeah, I
Yeah.
did that too.
it's out there, but I don't know. The reason I would want something like a health bar to know is because when you know they're one shot, it like gets your heart rate up. So like having that information or knowing you're one shot, I don't know. It just makes the things a little bit more
You
intense, more
you
fun.
get that to like a small degree with like the color, like if a fighter's red,
Yeah.
you're on the last stretch. But if that number was more precise, or if there was like a more gradual progression to that, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah. So
Well,
If
well,
I could.
maybe would it be a bad thing? Here's the thing to think about too, and I don't want to get stuck on health bars, but if you remember that really great game Ashes of Creation that you and me were thinking about going over to, Mike, and
there
you
might
were
be
thinking
good
about
news with that. It's getting like super crazy, but we'll see.
it's, but
You
that
might get the game back.
uh what they were doing was they would do those health chunks and they wouldn't actually tell you what the health value was.
Yeah,
They would
yeah,
just
yeah.
divide in, and that doubt, or keeping you in the dark to as an aspect of that wasn't a bad thing. So it's like instead of being 5%, you see 25% until it's gone.
Yep.
Because the problem is too is like I think if you give too specific of a value, people sit there going, okay, he's at 5%. I'm definitely just going to hunt him the whole time
Yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah.
than the chance of him being 25. So
Yep.
sometimes, because that's what happens now, it's like you go after someone if they're red, but that doesn't mean, they're clinging to their life. That means that they're banged up, but it could still surprise you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not a bad idea.
So,
Yeah. I hope that answers Viper. We went off quite a bit.
yeah.
It's okay. I did want to ask just one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not really a question, but it was just like to bring up what you guys were talking about earlier. Um, like I know Virgil, you were talking about like, oh, well, in my arrow, I can't damage like a vanguard, or I think it was something like that. And like, I
Yeah.
completely agree. Like, I've been following like these stat changes and stuff ever since like the Evo got leaked, and like there were all the values, and that's the only information that I can really go off of because I'm not in Evo.
Mhm.
But um, like you
For
could
the
like,
record, I don't know if that's the case. Like,
It was just like
I
an
think there's a
example. Yeah.
couple weapons the Vanguard might be immune to, or is right there on the line of will it do damage or not. Like maybe I think it might be immune to like mantises or something, and then not immune to
yeah,
others. So, but I'm
yeah.
just using it as a hypothetical. But sorry, keep going.
Well, I was just saying like I think like I on one hand, like that comment earlier where someone was like, "Oh, you can't shoot at a tank with a pistol." It's like that is just stupid because we are playing a video game and it's meant to be like balanced
Yeah.
around fun. But on the other hand, like the effect that CIG are trying to go for, it's like if all that's like going off of my the thing that I said earlier, where it's like if you get the in-game feedback that you're supposed to use these certain type of weapons, then like I feel like promoting using cannons in the right situation, which it seems like if these changes go through, like omniskis and stuff like that will probably be like a bit more meta because they're just like the best all around, at least currently based off the stats that I've seen. But I just want to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Like I think you're right on the money. It's when I'm talking about this, it's more I'm just trying to, I guess, be cautious in feedback as to where this could get ugly. But
Hmm.
at the moment, it all seems very reasonable. And it seems healthy in the sense that it's definitely going to shake things up, and the game absolutely needs shaking up. It's the same weapons, for too long a period of time, and there's no weapons that perform at certain tasks better than others. It's just there's always one weapon that's the best in a patch, and we're all using it. And it's usually one or two ships, maybe three if we're lucky, that we're all using. So yeah, it's like it is a good thing. The only thing that we just don't want, right, is too much exclusion. I think a little bit of it's fine. Like, maybe a couple of like 10% of the weapon types are immune to ships that are larger. That's like a good baseline, whatever it is. But yeah, if that slope, or if it goes too much in favor of too many ships or immune to too many weapons, then we get less combat more than more of it. And,
Hmm.
and I think that it would be better again if all weapons did some sort of damage, whether it's trickle damage, but still something. I
I think
think is a good thing.
I had an idea about that just real quick. Is like if you're using laser, like that's always kind of been their mantra is that like laser is meant for armor and like taking down armor HP. No matter what laser weapon you're using, it should do at least like 1 HP damage to the
Yeah,
armor.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's like exactly my point. Is I don't think it should ever go. That number should never go to zero. It can go as low as you want it to go, but I
Yeah, it
don't think
can
it should
literally
ever
be
hit
one.
zero. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's the only like that is the line I would say, like, I think is that shouldn't get crossed, is that. But you know, and people will probably think like, oh, the fighter pilots just want to, be able to beat everything. It's not even the case. It's just we want more combat to happen for everybody. And
Hmm. I
if you
agree.
just move it to the heavier ships, then it's going to be even less combat. That's all. So, like the guys that finally get to play the ships that got neglected, they still need dance partners.
Yeah.
Like they still need to play. They have to counter something. And if the other side of that, the ships that they're supposed to go after can't even play, then the buffs were for nothing because everyone's going to avoid them anyways. Because that's how PvP works. When the Idris jumps in, everybody leaves.
Yep.
Like it's just like no one wants to play that game. Um, when a hammerhead comes in, like I don't even like, even if I'm with like a group of the org or whatever, like we don't even shoot hammerheads. We can't be bothered. It's a waste of time. It's boring. You just leave. There's nothing to it. And I think we'd get a lot more of that if people were immune.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%. All right, Viper, we'll let you go though, because we'll probably take one more quick one. I know a couple people jumped in the green room, but I heard Virgil's bedtime thing on his
no,
phone
I'm
a
good. I'm
long
good,
time
brother.
ago.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
totally good.
All
What
right.
is you
Well,
want?
we'll go like I don't know, maybe 15, 20 more minutes. How about that? Try and
Sure.
give
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody 5. All
Sure.
right, Viper. Thank you very much for the call, man. I appreciate it.
No,
GG's,
of
brother.
course.
GG's.
All right, be
Yeah.
good.
You guys have a nice rest of your day. See ya.
Bye bye.
See.
All right, and I'll just like line people up then real quick, and then we'll bring
Did
in
you have
Miles.
Sophie in the list? Was
No,
Sophie in the list?
People popped in and out a bunch of times, so I don't know what's going on. People are popping in, people are popping out. All right, Miles, what's up, bro?
I was not expecting to call in this early.
Yeah.
So I don't have much to say about the armor stuff. But with listening in, I have thought of stuff. So like the tank and the pistol thing, I definitely agree that the minimum point is the minimum should be 1. You should always do a little bit or something. But this is actually a question I put on the recent SCL question about FPS stuff, is when are we going to see more gadgets? I want to see tools for different situations where like grenades designed for anti-vehicle like tanks and stuff. I want to see, there should be that kind of stuff rather than
Yeah, like a lot of I agree. But here's where it gets slippery, right? Like if you need to bring a weapon type to fight a certain type of ship, then you can't afford to leave the fight and go restock your ship and set it up differently and then come back to the fight.
Yeah.
Because then that guy this repeats the process, and then you're both avoiding each other and coming back with, like, oh, you've got rock, all right, I'm gonna go get paper, and then and the fight doesn't happen still, and that's just one thing I'm like super worried about with this game is I agree. And maybe the answer is missiles, right? It's like missiles are really good for this because you don't have to sacrifice something to put the missiles on. Lasers are that, like, or maybe, you know, your weapon doesn't have the pen, well, you have to double your investment in the weapon power pips or something like that. As long as the answer isn't to go change your ship out of combat,
Yes.
because then I think it just becomes this shuffle game. Because it's like you get this to a degree right now in PvP already. Like this already exists to a small degree. If you go to fight a group and you're in a group, you're gonna look and you're gonna say, okay, like what are they running? If they're running, say, Buccaneers and Interceptors, then you're not gonna bring an addiction because they're gonna outfly the interdiction. But if they're flying Hornets and fighters, then you do bring the interdiction. Now the problem is when you jump to that and you bring in addiction, they can leave and go, oh well, they have interdiction, so let's now go swap into Interceptors. And then they come back, and then you're sitting there going, okay, well, there's no point. We're only interdicting ourselves, and they are completely ignoring the interdiction. So then we swap to Interceptors. So like that problem is already starting to slowly surface.
Had that
And
the
I
other
think you
day.
can get that with ship components too. Like if we start making stuff immune to, like, I think everything should be able to play against everything. I think that some things should specialize in doing so. Like, and if I were to be like brutally honest, I think 100 fighters should be able to take down an Idris. But if you brought like, it's a random number, so don't get too fixed up on it, right? But like 100 light fighters or fighters in general should be able to slowly take down an Idris. But if you want to efficiently do it, then you specialize and bring specialized ships, and then you've got the real fight.
Yes.
To do it, like, because again, like the second stuff doesn't work with other stuff, then it gets really weird really quickly. That's all.
Yes. And I also think it shouldn't just be flat across the board for a ship. Like a ship shouldn't just be armored entirely the same across the whole ship. It should have different parts armored differently in different places, so ships can be effective like light fighters. The whole thing of like, oh, you're supposed to strip off the turrets and stuff first, yada yada yada, strip away defensive stuff, which isn't really how it plays out right now. I think targeting and scanning needs love for this. Where targeting, you should be able to target, like lock on to different components of a ship without having to go into precision mode. Because precision mode in actual play isn't the best for aiming. Like, yeah, you could aim at different components, but
Yeah, I'd never use it. Never.
yeah, no, like you're never gonna like really lock on to one specific component with precision mode. So you should be able to target like a turret on a ship and then your pip will try, like, maybe it's less effective than just locking onto the hull of the ship, but you should be able to cycle through the components in different sections of the ship to aim at different parts of it. And then, a turret's going to be less armored than the hull.
Yeah. So you're saying like different sections of the ship can have like different hull values and stuff. Yeah, I'm supportive of it. I
Yeah.
think that's cool.
And armor
Yeah.
should ablate as well. Like, as more damage is done to the armor, that's stripped away, and then the normal hull is
Yeah, and
under.
that happens right now. Like
Yeah.
in the Evo, like the more you bang up the armor, the less it starts to resist, which is I think great too.
And in terms of like enemy health, I think that should be tied. Like, I'm for it. I think I was the one that mentioned that right now you can see your own health, essentially, like health bars essentially in the engineering panel. So it already exists. You just should be able to get that information from the enemy. But I think it should be tied into scanning, which scanning needs love, but where if you should be able to scan an enemy ship, get their current status, and then fight. But what would
Why
be great
the
is if
extra? Why not what we do in every other video game? Just lock onto them and have that information. Why do we have to add the extra elements to it? I always wonder this.
I would like the additional gameplay, give scanning, because if you have a scanning ship in your ship, they could be doing that job. Or if you have it in your fleet, you could have somebody doing that and
So
then
the-
disseminating that information to the fighters.
So the argument is because CIG sold the ship with zero gameplay that you want to make something that should be simple more complicated. You see what I'm arguing here? It's like, I don't care that they sold you a Terrapin and you think it's cool. That gameplay could exist in the future with like long range scanning and finding targets from far away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it can do something special, but like to try to bring a ship that you paid real money for and you wish it was viable in the game today, in a situation that should literally just be one click of a button and done, which is like, I see their shields, I see their armor values, and then like maybe what Virgil was saying about the health chunks instead of a full bar or something.
Yeah, just being like a good guess, a good estimate, but not the exact value. That's all.
Yeah, because like we know the exact value of shields, so I see no reason to know the exact value of armor, and then after that, I just don't know. Like, sometimes simple is better, guys. It just is. And there's this plague with this game that starts with the man at the top that we constantly want to overcomplicate shit, and we don't need to. You just don't need to.
You're right. Maybe, internal components are harder to get a read on or something, but
sure, yeah. That's a scan. That's where you're talking scanning, right? Is their power plant down? Are their shields down? Like, that's where we can do the scanning. But armor, come on.
Armor should also visually like pop off. I saw somebody in chat mention arc raiders where, you have the drones and they're armored, and as you do damage to them, their plating will go away and you'll like get.
Yeah, I think that's sick. I love the idea of that. Like, especially on the big scale, like if you see like chunks coming off them, to focus on that side. Yeah, I think
because you can be like, hey, the Idris's port side plating has popped off. Focus on that side.
Yep. And that is a place to get the access to damaging certain components or whatever. If you learn the ship, those are those extra layers that are kind of cool. But yeah. Anything else?
Cool,
Miles?
dude.
I think that'll be for me.
Okay. Because it's been about 5 minutes.
I was mainly talking about the blueprint changes yesterday, but I think we'll probably talk about that later. We'll
talk about that when it releases more with like I'm thinking Red Monster, talking mining, or I spoke to El Guapo for the first time recently. I think he might be a good guest. So like something like that is when we'll talk blueprints and stuff. All that shit's up in the air. Who knows? And we'll see. But that will be probably next week's topic. It'll be much easier to talk about that when we can see it.
Definitely.
All right, brother.
All right.
Save it for next week. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
GG's, brother.
Bye.
All right. Next caller is Dimitri. Dimitri, what's up?
Hey guys, this is Dread Pirate Roberts. It wouldn't let me change my name.
Okay.
So, just the one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here, specifically Virgil. I know you've been kind of rebuffing this the entire time. Is the idea that fighters, no matter what, should be able to, or light weapons. Let me rephrase. No matter what, should be capable of damaging everything, right? I get why you're saying that. I get the idea that you want to have the ability to deal with any threat that you encounter, right?
I don't think it's that. I think it's that I just don't want anyone of any kind
To be
get
invulnerable.
excluded.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just I don't
Okay.
want people excluded. Like
Right.
I get because I don't I'm critical of this, and this is the only reason I'm bringing this up. Is like I don't want people to think, oh, I want fighters to just beat everything. I think, and we didn't cover this in the earlier pod, but I am of the opinion that every single sci-fi movie, TV series, or anything I've ever seen, the fleet composes of majority fighters, and then the the capital ships are the rarest, and then in between that, which would be like the larger and heavier ships that aren't quite capitals, are in between, right? I think that spread is healthy. That matches everything sci-fi. It
Yeah.
would be a bad game and a bad movie to watch if there was no fighters at all in it, for example,
Okay,
and it
but
was just caps and stuff, right? Like
right.
so, but it's just about to clarify and let you continue. It's just about I don't think there should be exclusions. I think some ships should be absolutely terrible when it comes to fighting certain ships, but I just don't think there should be exclusions because exclusions just means less fighting. But go
Okay,
ahead.
but the
Sorry.
point that I wanted to make is that there isn't an exclusion. You just swap to the appropriate weapons and you can damage anything. Omniscies can damage every single ship in the game right now, no matter what size they are.
Yep.
Larger ballistic cannons can damage every single ship in the game right now. Yes, you're going to have velocity problems against fighters if you try to go in with deadbolts, but Omniscies have decent velocity, and even light strikes now potentially have a place in the sense that they have the velocity to deal with fighters and they have the damage to penetrate just about
But
anything. Your
that's not the
DPS is
case
going to
with
suffer.
smaller ships, right? Like size one Omni skies aren't doing damage to capitals, right?
No, you're
No,
assuming size
no,
3 and
any
up. I'm
Omnisci,
guessing, right? Any
any
Omnisca?
Omnisci will damage capitals. They have enough damage to breach that threshold.
Okay.
So essentially it like you've got choices, right? But the choice you
Okay.
make is, okay, I choose the weapon that's optimal to defeat other fighters, but then I'm not as effective or not effective against larger ships. Or I choose the weapon that can damage everything, but then I'm less effective against fighters and I'm not the most effective I could be against larger ships. Or I choose to specialize against larger ships and pick the deadbolts or the M cannons, and then I can't hit fighters. So it's
Yeah.
making you make a choice.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good. Like keep in mind, despite what we're saying, I'm not indicating or I'm not trying to tell people what's immune to what. I don't think, and if I have said that, I'm strictly talking hypothetical here. Um, but yeah, like I agree with you. It's 100%. That's just good balancing. Like yeah, you should be able to choose, and if you want to be really great at going after certain weight divisions, you should be worse off going against other divisions. Yeah, it's a good thing, man. You're 100% on it.
What
Yeah,
weapon do
I'm
you
not
choose
saying
to
I
be more
agree.
effective against fighters? Then
It would be faster, like it would be repeaters because they have the faster velocity.
but
So
size
like
1
you said,
repeaters
Mike.
won't be able to do damage to any fighters.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know the math. I'd have
Yeah,
to look
so
at the
the
table.
low size ballistics right now are in a bad place, and I think that's something that they're going to have to reconsider is how those are balanced because they're effectively good against nothing.
Yeah.
However, the other thing to consider is armor, as said, does deplete very quickly. Even the Idris now only has like 50,000 armor, right? And as you deplete it, smaller and smaller weapons are able to damage it. That ablative effect that was mentioned by the
Yeah, see,
previous
that's
caller.
cool. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you really only need a couple of ships outfitted to break the armor on larger ships, and then your fighters with the lighter weapons that are geared towards dealing with other fighters, which are going to be your primary threat, can damage it as well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I keep showing
Cool.
Squadron 42 footage because this is what we want. You want a bunch of fighters and a couple capitals firing giant weapons at each other, don't we?
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
thing is, it kind of adds a dynamic of, okay, you need to have the people who are equipped to deal with the big threats, but not everybody needs to be equipped for that. As long as you have enough to break that armor and get to the point that you can deal with it, you're good.
Yeah, for sure. But like the only counter to this, Dimitri, right? And the only like situation I'm trying to, I guess, just be cautious of is fights that happen currently, which is like if an Idris comes after my bounty, I can't play the game, and I'm not letting the Idris play the game.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, we
so,
all know
like
the Idris is kind of bullshit anyway, so.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and it's just a good example. But if they were to go and back away from where it is now and make more ships immune to more weapons, it's because right now, like you said, it's good, and I think I said that at the beginning of the podcast. I think it's pretty reasonably balanced right now. But if they were to go in the other direction, then it would be a worry because then it's not just the Idris that comes after me and we both don't play the game. It might be like, and I don't want to use me as an example, so just any fighter. If any fighter that stops fighting, constellations and corsairs, then that's 30% less PvP for everybody.
Right, but
So as long as the weapons can do damage to each other, like you said, that's good. That's fine. I
right.
agree.
So you just, in that situation, you have to make the choice, right? Do you gear for an all comers build with Omnisguise? Or
Yeah.
do you build for, okay, I want to be sure I'm going to win the sweatiest of dogfights, and therefore
Yeah.
I'm going to run repeaters?
Yeah, and I agree. I like that. I like the fact that you can choose in one. I just hope that that will always be the case. Dread is all I'm saying. Like I want to make sure what you're saying stays. And
Yes,
it does
agreed.
because there's people and I like this. There's people that Mike is making the meme podcast title about that straight up think they're immune to damage
Yeah.
and they want it to stay that way. And that's why I'm having the conversation, is because people aren't based like the three of us in here. There's other people that just want it flat outright. They want their Idrises to be immune. They want their Corsairs and Connies to be completely immune. Like, we other people aren't being as reasonable as us here.
Yeah.
So.
And I should give some context here. I am one of those Corsair pilots. I don't want to be immune, but like I'm pretty much a Corsair main. I don't really fly fighters very much. I'm not good with fighters. And I know when I go out there with a Corsair against good fighter pilots, I'm going to get my ass kicked. It's just how it works, right? And I don't expect that to change either, because that maneuverability advantage is just what it is. And I accept that as part of flying that ship. Just
And
as
maybe
I feel
the
like
fight
if
can
you
be closer, like maybe the fight should be closer to you, standing more of a chance. Like I'm
maybe, but
completely open
again,
to that.
I've been flying this thing a long time, and yes, there have been times when it's been better and there have been times when it's been worse. But the fact is that I accept that, right? And the flip side of that is, like, if you load out to have the optimal loadout against other light fighters, right, with CF repeaters or whatever, then you're accepting that you don't have the optimal loadout to deal with those bigger ships.
Do
Yeah, for
CF
sure.
repeaters have enough alpha to pen armor on another light fighter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's
It's not
some
that bad.
circumstances. There's some I would have I haven't looked at the table, or I haven't rehearsed the table.
Yeah.
But my understanding too is like, because like they've made a mess here, right? Because they've like every ship can have any weapon size. So there's like heavies, like the
Yeah.
F8 that have
Yep.
size 2s. So there is some awkward interactions where like a heavy can't actually damage another heavy.
Yeah.
if they have certain weapon types and stuff. So
Yeah.
and then like randomly the Talon is size 4s too. So there's just like and it's like it wasn't made to punch above its weight. It's just has 2 size 4s. So
And
like
that's
they've
just
kind of
down
backed
to
themselves up a bit there.
right. They're constantly backing themselves into corners by making decisions of, oh, I'm going to sell a ship with this because that would be cool.
Yeah.
And they don't
Yeah.
consider the impact to
game.
balance. And
Ever.
that's just the reality
Yeah.
of the game we're in now.
Yeah. The ship team is the marketing team. They are not involved in gameplay decisions. It seems like it's like, here's a ship, Yogi, figure it out, and then everybody gets mad at Yogi when everybody should be mad
Yep.
at the teams making the ships in the first fucking place. It drives me nuts.
Yeah,
Guys,
they leave the
guys
gameplay
got the
teams.
impossible job.
It's good
They
though,
leave
Jed.
the
You're
gameplay
100%
team to
right.
clean
And
up their
we didn't
mistakes.
cover that.
Yeah.
We didn't cover that earlier.
Yeah, and I would just
yeah,
ask, I just want to ask, like, you're pointing out, all right, the Omni-Sky ones can do damage, so it's not entirely true what you're saying. Cool. But is all of this intentional? Did they actually think through this and figure out all these scenarios? Like, probably
think
not. The Omni-Skies just probably happen to be. And then again,
No.
so now do we only use Omni-Skies? Is that ever their intention with all the other weapons? So like if only the Omni-Skies are good, they probably didn't think through everything super clearly just yet and are looking for feedback and all those things. I don't want a world where Omni-Skies are the choice. I don't want a world where CFs are the only choice like we had before. I don't want a world where ballistic repeaters are the only choice because that's what we had before. I want sort of what we're saying, but what we're saying doesn't seem intentional entirely.
Agreed. I think we're in a situation where the gameplay team is trying to clean up for the marketing team and
100%.
find a way to make a game balance that is interesting and fun, but they're not there yet, right?
Yeah.
And I think that maybe this is a good start, and maybe they can take this and tune it to the point that it makes more sense by adjusting the weapon stats. You remember back in the engineering patch in 4.5 or 6, whatever, we had a brief period in PTU where they had a complete retuning of all weapons, and then they stripped it out. And I think that the reason they stripped it out was, one, it wasn't complete. It wasn't ready for every weapon. Most of the new weapons weren't balanced properly. And two, they didn't want to throw too much at us at once.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if the vision is, okay, they're going to bring that back in conjunction with this at some point, and that retuning is going to hopefully create a balance where there's a reason to use different weapons more.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of people complained about the refining changes. Like that obviously makes room for like refining ore where it's like now 50%, which is not a crazy thing. People in lots of games, 2 ore equals 1 bar. But the idea there is like there's room to improve with better crafting, crafted refineries and shit. So it's like, yeah, opening the game up for those layers we talked about earlier is a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the main thing I wanted to mention. I have done a fair amount of testing in Evo on these changes. So, you know, I have a pretty good idea like of the specific details of some of what works and what doesn't. As you guys may have seen, there's a spreadsheet going around that shows the threshold values for ballistics versus lasers and the armor values that affect those.
Can you DM it to me?
Yeah, I can. Hold on.
I won't be able to bring it up
You know
on
about
stream
that
now,
gigantic
but I'll put
vertical
it.
table, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I won't be able to put it on camera now just because of the way my setup is with Discord. But I will be able to link it in the YouTube video, so you guys and the Twitch.
Yeah, so
chat.
there you go. So that first values, the first values there are ballistics, the second values are laser, and then the third is the armor values.
Okay, I can put it in the Twitch chat now, and then through my phone, and then YouTube.
One thing I should note, the reason why the ballistic values are higher than the laser values is because this is already factoring in the 15% resistance of armor to ballistics and the 30% vulnerability. So that's why they're different. If you factor those out, the number, it's a flat number.
Mm.
The one thing this doesn't take into account, and I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but because shields have 45% absorption of ballistic damage, you actually need a higher ballistic damage than these numbers to affect a ship through its shields.
Yes.
Significantly higher.
Yeah. So it really kills ballistics.
Yes.
which is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it's good.
But all right, Dredd, anything else before we
No, I'm
we'll
all set.
move on? All right, bro.
Good shit, man. You schooled us on this. This was good. Thank you.
Appreciated. Yeah,
Yeah, no
because
problem.
obviously it's an Evo, and not all, we don't have a ton of time in it, so we're all speculating on what we think more than actual
Yeah,
having
I
facts.
love to spurg about this kind of stuff. I'm big into, you know, figuring out all the little details and stuff when they make changes like this. So
Appreciate it. Shoot me the actual link, not the image, if it's possible.
I
So
don't
I can-
have a link. I just have the image.
Just have the image. Okay, cool. I'll put it on like Imager or something, so I have a link there. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you,
problem.
man. All right, talk to you.
Cheers, brother.
Bye, bye.
Yeah.
Verge, you got time for one more, or
Yeah, we can do one more.
all right? Let's do one more.
Yeah,
It's
call it
it's
one.
cool. Now that you're here, I'm getting all sorts of different callers because it's a totally different subject than what we normally talk
I
about.
can see all the PvPers in chat too.
Hell yeah, it's awesome. All right, XT Raptor, excuse me, XT
Yep.
Raptor. How you doing?
How's it going?
Good, good.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making sure. Yeah, I just wanted to like, it got touched on a little bit before, so like now I'm a little trying to reformulate what I was gonna talk about. There's I've seen a lot of people saying stuff like fighters are made to scout and stuff. Like people really have like an abrasion to like fighters being able to do anything. Like
Because they
against
just
Mega
are
Strikes.
annoyed by them, I think, because it's
Yeah.
been so annoying for so long.
But it seems people forget like fighters are the carrier's main weapon, and a carrier is a big ship. So
True. It's the Idris's main
how
weapon.
would that work? Yeah.
Oh,
So
wait.
how
Never mind.
it has a railgun there. Yeah.
Take that back.
But like a
I
Bengal,
take
right?
that
Does a
back.
Bengal have a railgun? I don't know. That's a carrier, right? I'm not super versed on that.
I think it's like
Bengal carrier.
in
Yeah, that's what they
every-
call it. Bengal carrier.
I said it earlier. It's like in every movie game, there's like it's always fighters the most.
Yeah.
You know? and
Yeah,
then,
like Star
so-
Wars is like, you remember that clip of there was like a big fight that Shadow Moses had, Virgil, where there's a clip of one of your guys and it literally looked like Star Wars. Who is it? Thumb, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like it
Yep.
was all fighters just flying by him, and there was like a
Yeah.
big cap ship in the background. Like that's epic.
Yeah. And
Who doesn't
I
want
have
that?
I have a bit more experience with Elite Dangerous's like models than Star Citizen. But one of the things that like they kind of do is they have a lot more variety in weapon types
Yeah.
than Star Citizen does. And I don't know if
They
they're
also
gonna
thought about weapon balance a little bit too.
a
which
little
was-
bit more too.
Yeah.
So like I'm not sure like are there like railguns or like plasma accelerator equivalents in Star
There's
Citizen?
there's rail guns. They just like don't really
Do-
have like a use case.
Yeah.
There's gonna be one guy in the comment sections be like, "I love to use my rail guns," and I be
Yeah,
know, but
Yeah,
no,
you know,
like,
and
it's-
I do my medium level bounties all day with them. So all right, cool.
yeah. So but it's nowhere near as like well balanced as ED. But like those weapons exist. They just don't have much of a use case, and hopefully some depth like this, which Dread was just mentioning earlier. This is the time to do it. Like this is the mechanic to bring more weapons into use and to widen the meta for that. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing is that in Elite you can also modify your armor. You can add armor modules and armor reinforcements and module reinforcements that will like
You can do that in Eve too, can't you?
Yeah, and then it has like a negative effect on other things, right? Like if you raise your cargo value, then you lower your armor values and things like that.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
like
cool.
one of the things that I enjoyed doing in Elite Dangerous is stripping down a small fighter to where like I even pulled the shield out in order to have more power to more powerful weapons. Like you can't do anything like that in Star Citizen, right? You, like
Mhm.
just pull that
Kind
thing out.
of, because you get more access to pips, but the pip balance
Doesn't
is
do
still
much,
it's not that
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
right? And very quickly, just wanted because a lot of people did touch on the whole like the pistol versus tank thing. It's like why are we equating fighters to pistols? That would be like, wouldn't that be more like a handheld rifle to a ship, like that should do no damage.
Why are we so stuck on this? Like,
because
I don't
because
get why.
everybody wants to apply real life scenarios to video games, and it's so fucking annoying.
It's because it's what they said, right? Like it didn't. Was it Jared
was
or
their
was it
example, yeah.
Yogi? Yeah, it was their example of like, oh, pistol should never do anything to a tank. But like,
Yeah.
why are we? Why is
Did
that?
he say that? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
had no
think so.
idea.
I don't
Okay.
remember which one it was, but they like when they were talking about it in around master modes, I think it was. They said that, and I guess that's where people latched onto it. Um, but and I kind of mentioned it earlier in the chat of like the small fighter to a bigger fighter should be more like an infantry fighting vehicle, like coming across a main battle tank. Where the common wisdom is it should never fight each other because the main battle tank will always win. But then you see things like in Ukraine where infantry fighting vehicles just happen to come across main battle tanks and they cripple them because they like took out their optics, they took out their tracks. The turret got damaged, so it was spinning around and they couldn't aim properly, and then they just left, right? Like they didn't kill it. They needed something else to come in and finish it off, but they
But they
crippled it.
disabled it. Yeah.
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 That's a cool story, right? Like, oh, I was in my fighter, and then like a ninja showed up, and I couldn't kill it, but I destroyed its thrusters, and then I got the fuck out of there. Like,
Mhm.
I kind of want
Yeah.
that in the game,
Yeah, I get it. I'm with you on
and
it.
I don't want to be forced to rely only on Omni Skies for that too, because we're talking a lot of like a scenario where like it's almost like recently watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, where it's like, oh, we'll have a trial of seven. You
God, it
bring your
was
6
so
ships,
good.
and I'll bring my 7 ships at this place at this time, and we will fight each other. But what if you're a cargo ship and you just happen to have laser repeaters and a bigger ship shows up? What do you do now? You just die?
That's what
Yeah.
some of these people want.
Yeah, it's like you should be able to do some damage even if you do just have laser repeaters. It should just not be optimal, right? It's like it was my last ditch Hail
It just
Mary
takes
cat.
you so much
Yeah,
longer or something. Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah, it's like that. Like that's it. Like the only thing I'm not like I'm not too like I'm not gonna lose sleep if a snub can't damage a cap, right? Like for example, like
yeah,
two on the edges of the spectrum, right? But like I just think we have to be cautious not to make it so that half the game can't fight half the game. That's
yeah,
all. Like like I'm not even closed minded to certain ships just not being able to if I'm not gonna lose sleep if snubs can't attack caps and if light fighters can't attack caps. It's not the end of the world. Don't do it anyways. But I
yeah,
am skeptical of closer together ships. Like if a hammerhead can't take damage from a fighter,
Who is
then
supposed to be fighting.
exactly. Then what the hell are we doing? And there's
But
people that are celebrating this, like, oh hell yeah, my hammerhead is immune to fighters now. We are so back. We are so back.
yeah.
You're back to what?
do you
You're
think they're
back to
just
what?
do you think they're thinking like really hard coded rock paper scissors then, where it's like the fighter can't fight the hammerhead can fight the fighter, and the torpedo ship has to kill the hammerhead? I think that's what they're thinking, but I don't think that's as fun as they realize
Yeah, I think
necessarily.
you're right in that. I think that is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Or at least weapon types to be the bridge, like the in between for that. But I don't think they've thought as far as what that's actually going to look like, because people are going to sit there and go, okay, I can't be bothered to
Yeah.
go get the Eclipse. I can't be bothered to hop in some boring ship I don't want to bring just to kill this thing, and they're going to just avoid it entirely.
I mean,
And
let's
I think
just
that's
talk about what you just said. Can't be bothered. Why? Because it'll take an hour to set this thing up. It takes an
I
hour to get
don't
into a new ship. So
I
that's
don't want to
kind
fly
of
that thing.
you may not want to. Other people do. So that's the
Yeah.
other thing though, right? Is it might be nice that I can finally fly paper when I haven't been able to fly paper, or finally be able to fly rock.
For sure.
But the other thing is like, oh, there's a hammerhead there. Well, shit. We're all in gladiuses, so we're just gonna leave. He's not gonna get a fight. We're not gonna get a fight, and because we're not going to reship. And if we do,
And
then he's not going to be there anymore anyway.
And if the Hammerhead is supposed to shred the fighters, let it shred the fighters. But the fighters gonna want to stay there to get shredded. Like, for some reason, they have to want to stay there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody's having fun.
Yeah, like that's
So-
another thing, right? Like the mission of Hammerhead, right, is aerial denial. It's to protect other ships. So it doesn't really matter that the fighters can't kill the Hammerhead. What really matters is that the Hammerhead can't kill the fighters, right? Because if he can't kill the fighters, how is he going to keep them away from the other ships it's supposed to protect?
Someone said it's not rock, scissors, paper, it's rock, scissors, Idris. So true.
Like, right? Like
it's
if you're in
just
a
Idris.
battle,
There is no other. It's just the Idris.
worst thing that's ever happened in this game, dude. It's just so bad.
But hey, you don't have, you guys. This will be their argument. You don't have a game if I didn't buy the Idris.
Yeah, well,
probably. I mean, we damned if we do, damned if we don't. We don't have a game because they bought Idris's.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
yeah, I think that was most of what I had in mind.
okay.
That was good, man.
Yeah,
Good
we
shit.
appreciate it, man. Good
Appreciate you,
chat.
boss.
All right, catch you
Have a good
later. Bye bye.
Okay.
All right, I think that's a good place to stop. Virgil's only yawned about 15 times, and I'm starting
Sorry,
to feel bad.
I'm faded. I'm starting to fade. Yeah,
No,
my bad. Bro.
I tried to end a while ago, so I appreciate
Sorry, it's good. It's good.
that you stayed on this long. But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. And obviously, we're still learning. But the talk of the main point is and I'm agreeing with you. I don't think there should ever be a zero value to destroying a ship. I should have to bring 600 Auroras to kill an Idris, but I still could kill an Idris.
The goal is like we want everyone to be able to, more people to be able to play the game. Yeah, it's like right now, I get it. Like, if you're in a Connie, you're in a Corsair, you know, you're in a medium fighter and a heavy fighter, you're food for the agile fighters. Like, we all get that. That's not great. Ain't nobody happy about that, even the guys in the fighters. So we want multi-crew balance. We want the guys in the turrets to have a fair shake. We want everyone to be able to play. We just want to make sure that we start to encompass more players rather than just move the problem elsewhere. So.
Exactly. Okay, I can't. We got to end now because somebody just said, "Can 1,000 mosquitoes kill a human?" No. So yeah, we're done. That's the best place to stop. So yeah, we're bringing real life into it again, and I can't do it. So thank you so much.
Can't one mosquito technically kill a human?
True. Nice try.
Yeah, I think
if there's 1,000, there's a good chance.
Yeah, it's called malaria, all right, sucker.
Yep. So, all right. That's a good place to stop. Virgil, thank you so much for coming on super short notice. I appreciate it. And
it's a ton of fun, man.
Yeah, it's always fun. So hopefully we continue to get more fighter changes and things like that. And then there's more reasons to talk about stuff like this on the show, because I feel like the last year it was not that much. Although things have improved a lot, even from just a watching perspective. It's been super fun to watch shows like yours and others where fighting just looks more accessible now than it has in recent years. And that's always a good thing.
Good. Like, the patch is looking good. It's surprisingly not looking that bad at all. And it's going to be a fresh change. It's good.
Yeah, 100%. But all right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Virgil doesn't have to deal with this cringe, but I would be shunned if I didn't do our stupid outro, and that is, thanks for watching, everybody. Check out Virgil. I'm assuming you're going to come back to streaming and YouTube videos when things are a little bit more fun. So I'll put his links in the description on YouTube and stuff like that. And you can catch him from the title here on Twitch pretty easily by just clicking on it. And so make sure you follow him, check him out, and all that. And with that, thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to answer the call. Could you hear my wife say cringe in the other room?